Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of For the Fans podcast. I am not feeling 100%, so McKay's going to be doing more talking than I am this week, which is a first.
We're basically having a role reversal. It's that time of year where we're getting sick, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not going to be
Whoa.
as loud and
Okay.
obnoxious this time around.
I can maybe fill the void for that. We'll see.
Oh, man.
Oh
Anyways,
man, there's a lot to cover this week. That's for sure. I mean, between the news that we have to cover, whether it's the trade deadline or other things that have happened, that's one thing to cover. The injury report is another, and then of course going into our usual segments, along with a very, very peculiar and different for the fun, which I'm still curious to see how it ends up going. We'll see.
yeah. So let's dive right into it because there's a ton to get through.
For sure. Let's go start off here, of course, with our bits of news that obviously we have to discuss before we even go into the injury reports. The first big one is obviously, the trigger was pulled. We have basically a clean house, the Las Vegas Raiders last night. Fired head coach Josh McDaniels, their offensive coordinator Mick Lombardi, and their general manager Dave Ziegler. As far as we know right now, their linebackers coach Antonio Pierce has been named the interim coach. There's also some concerns over who the Raiders are going to choose as their starting quarterback this
Oh,
coming week against
they
the
announced
Giants.
it already.
Oh, did they? I haven't caught it. Is
Let
it Aiden O'Connell?
yeah, it's O'Connell.
Well, Garoppolo's been horrible, and you
Yep.
definitely don't want to play Brian Hoyer. So,
Yep, they
yeah,
announced
it's time to
O'Connell,
get the
I think,
rookie
at
a shot.
like 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay, well, it's the right call, honestly.
He was a promising rookie, and they're willing to give the rookie a chance, so.
Well, that's all they got. They got nothing to lose right now. They've fired all their staff. Jimmy's terrible. They got to give some sort of spark, whether it's if a guy who can actually pass to Devonte Adams for starters.
Or you can just hand the ball to Josh Jacobs.
Well, yeah, but for some reason they're not doing that either.
I don't know. Although,
I don't
I
know.
will say, Antonio Pierce seems very excited to be the head coach, and seems like the players are a little fired up too.
Well, I hope that that turns out to be a positive sort of thing. I still feel like a lot of um Raiders fans are, looking at, when John Gruden had to be fired mid-season, they ended up having Rich Bisaccia come in as their interim head coach, just pulled off the staff and said, "Hey, okay, you're in charge now." And he got them to the playoffs despite everything that had gone on that season. Not only did you have Gruden's firing, that was Henry Ruggs. That happened that season too, and he still got them to the playoffs. They didn't win a playoff game, but he still got them to the playoffs. I almost wonder if they're kind of hoping for a repeat there.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah. But speaking of which, because we were talking about Jimmy Garoppolo being benched, because he's playing poorly, but we've got another one that's going to happen too. They've called it and they've said Desmond Ritter, Falcons quarterback, he's going to be benched too in favor of former Washington Commanders great backup and Shane's favorite person in the world, Taylor
Second favorite.
Heineke.
I'll say second favorite, but yes, I am a fan of Heineke.
Because I'm your favorite, right?
I was gonna say Gardner Minshew, so
Oh, got it.
I
Got
mean
it.
we
Yes,
we,
that's
we
fair.
can't forget the mustache and everything. That was a
That's
fun
true.
time for me.
Well, now you just get to relive it with him playing for your rival. But the nice thing is you've already played him this
Twice,
season,
and we
so don't
swept them.
worry about it.
But I do love
That's
Taylor
right.
Heineke. Heineke is a fun player to watch.
Yep, and hopefully he brings some life to the Falcons offense because I mean they got a great they got a great run game. Now they need to have something quarterback section because it's not Ritter. Ritter ain't it.
No,
But and
Ritter
the funny thing
bad.
is we were even talking about this. Yeah, we were even talking about this last episode, talking about, oh, okay, well, what do the Falcons do? And this is kind of the sad little segue here, as we were kind of talking about, oh, if they don't go through the draft, what quarterback could they get? And obviously the big talk was Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. That
Now
situation's
Cousins is
changed a
hurt.
little bit. Yeah,
Curse you
and
Packers.
we'll right. Two older QBs now with torn Achilles. I mean, I guess that's one thing to cover for the injury report right now because it's the big one. He's out for the season with the torn Achilles sustained in the Vikings win. The interesting thing, though, is since his injury, the Arizona Cardinals have traded Josh Dobbs to the Vikings to play alongside Jaron Hall. Um, Jaron Hall's going to get the start this week, which I think will be really interesting to see. Jaren Hall. I don't know if you know this or not, Shane, but Jaren Hall was basically the successor to Zach Wilson at BYU,
Oh, I did
and
not know that.
he he did okay. He did all right. So we'll see how he does with an NFL start.
Hopefully better than Zach Wilson.
Right, right.
Gosh, that kid was
Um,
bad. Ugh,
but he still got a
anyways.
win. For some reason, he's still
Ugh.
getting wins. I mean, it's his defense who's kind of carrying him, obviously. But I mean, hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, don't like it.
I know you don't. Every time it gets brought up, you're just like, yeah, I don't.
I just don't like him as a person. For me, there's like very little to redeem that kid.
Yeah, I understand. I'm trying to think if there's any real player in the NFL that I feel that way about.
Current,
Definitely players in the NBA.
I was like,
There's
current
definitely players in
NFL,
the
not as
NBA.
much.
Yeah, I don't.
Former
Yeah, I
NFL
couldn't
players, now
tell.
I would have a lot to say about.
Oh yeah, who you have in mind?
Eli Manning.
Oh yeah, you really didn't like
Oh,
him. That's right.
I still don't. I like him more now. I'll say I like him more now that he's retired from playing. He's a lot more fun and entertaining as a person, but as a player, did not
Uh-huh.
like him.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I remember we've had this conversation before to some degree.
I mean, there's plenty more that you would not like on a average day. Was it Vontez
From NFL.
Burfict?
Here's my problem. Vontez Perfect did go to Arizona State, and so that's like his one redeeming quality in my book. You know what I mean? I know he's a dirty player and he sucks, but like, uh, I don't know. I hold back a little bit just because of his alma mater.
Blaine Gabbert. Ugh,
I love Blaine
I
Gabbert. I
hate
still think his
I hate him.
his hot mic was hilarious.
You didn't have to deal with him as a starting quarterback for like 3 years.
Oh, I know. Okay, so cool. So we're talking about, starting, quarterbacks that I had to deal with for a while. But all the same, I don't I don't think I can yeah, I don't think I can, basically bag on too much either on Mitchell Trubisky or Jay Cutler for that
Hey,
matter.
hey, how many Pro Bowls have both of them been to?
Just one each?
Hey, that's still better than Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah, that's fair.
uh, anyways, let's get back on track.
Yeah, that's a good point. The last thing we need to talk about, of course, are some of the big trades. Obviously, the biggest one that was a real I guess you could say surprise, honestly, but it was the fact that the Washington Commanders traded both big defensive players that were kind of in talks for trades. Montez Sweat is now a Chicago Bear, and Chase Young is now a San Francisco 49er. Um, these are interesting. I think, Sweat, the pickup for the Bears, that's good. I think they want to at least give their
Oh
bolster for
yeah.
their defense because let's be honest, Shane, at least for the Bears, this season's they're already like, okay, roll it up, call it in. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Eberflus gets canned at the end of the season and they go for, I don't know, the big rumor right now is Jim Harbaugh because of Michigan's whole sign stealing situation. But there's talk of Eberflus going. The Bears are still going to have the most cap space next year, and hopefully they're going to use that to bolster, and then obviously use their draft picks to do something good. And no, it's not going to be to get Caleb Williams.
Sadly.
But
Well, not sadly because
anyway,
I believe in Fields, but apparently a lot of people don't.
I don't believe in Caleb Williams. I literally had this full blown. Well, I mean, we talked about this in the last episode too, but
Yeah,
I
we
had this
did.
full blown conversation with my cousins, literally on Sunday during they're Chargers fans and I'm a Bears fan, so we were watching the game together, basically, just talking back and forth and whatnot. And they were. It was funny. They were talking about, um, even some of their rivals in the Pac-12 because they're Utah fans. And they're like, hey, we try to give the benefit of the doubt to all these Pac-12 college players, all these, quarterbacks who are really, really good and stuff like that, and say, oh, they're not terrible, but they're like, oh, we specifically hate Caleb Williams, and we think he's trash and overrated.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But anyway, that's one, at least for the Bears. The 49ers one is crazy, though, because Chase Young, high upside there, can be a really great player. when he's healthy, I mean, the dude in the 34 games he's played, he's had 6 forced fumbles and 3 of them have been recoveries. That's pretty impressive for a guy. I think he was definitely, as long as he stays healthy, is worthy of that number 2 overall pick slot. Um, and the 49ers just got him. He gets to rejoin Nick Bosa, his old
Mm-hmm.
teammate at Ohio State. A little scary there, I'll say that.
Oh, that defensive line is terrifying now.
And the fact that they have the money for it, that's just the big thing for me.
Benefit of having the last pick in an NFL draft as your starting quarterback.
For sure. We'll see how what's happening with him. He's definitely gone downhill in the last 3 games, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Injury report. We got to cover this really quickly. We've already talked about Kirk Cousins. It's a bummer. Let me say that. I'll be honest. As excited as I am to see what Jaren Hall could potentially do, losing Kirk Cousins to an injury or a season-ending injury, that's tough because I really like Kirk Cousins.
Oh, even his teammates, like even Justin Jefferson, is pissed off that Cousins is hurt now and out for the season.
Yeah, when I remember I was reading the reports that like when it was officially announced that he had torn his Achilles and was out for the season, like apparently the locker room broke down. That's how much prominence Cousins holds in the Vikings locker
And
room.
like, I feel like Cousins has been trashed like the majority of his career. He's always been a strong, capable quarterback who gets his team to rally behind him. And honestly, he's a quarterback that I would want on my team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good mates doesn't isn't like the most explosive quarterback, but a good, safe quarterback that can manage your team and do well and has his entire team behind him. It's hard to find a guy like that.
Absolutely. Continuing on here with the injury report, we've got Kendrick Bourne. He's out for the season with a torn ACL. The Patriots lost to the Dolphins in Week 8. And then coming up here, as far as they're being labeled as questionable going into Week 9, Drake London, Matthew Stafford, Tyrod Taylor, Darren Waller, Jalen Carter, and Kenny Pickett, all labeled as questionable. See how things go there. Also, still no official timetable given yet on injuries for Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, David Montgomery, Ryan Tannehill, and Justin Fields.
It's a
A lot
lot
of
of
quarterbacks in there.
quarterbacks.
Yeah. We'll see. We're getting into the heat of the season, and it's a problem if you're having some of these major players down.
Yep, we're at the official halfway mark.
Right. And so, with that being said, let's go back into week 8 and kind of just talk about some of these matchups. Shane, do you want to go first with yours?
Yeah, so first one I got the Carolina Panthers versus the Houston Texans. Now, a lot of people might be saying, why would I pick this game? And the main reason I'm picking this game is because the Panthers finally got on the board and got in the win column with a win against the Texans. And now it's like, oh, people, it's the Texans. Earlier in the season, we were saying, wow, the Texans are looking really good with C.J. Stroud, but Young came in and they had the rookie number one, number two clash against each other, and Stroud did well. So my questions are kind of: is he truly what the Panthers wanted, and was he worth giving up that much capital and grabbing him? I think the table's still out on if he's what the Panthers wanted. And as for giving up,
Hmm.
I still think they gave up too much for him.
Right. I think the Bears definitely won that trade
Hmm.
because obviously, one, not only did the Bears get DJ Moore, who is, proving to be a really, really good player as long as he has the right quarterback throwing to him. What I mean by that is when Justin Fields on it, they play great together. As much as I'm growing to like Tyson Bagent right now, he ain't it. He's a backup. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
But he's a
Um,
good backup.
he is a good backup, definitely. But with that being said, the bigger win at this point might be the fact that the Panthers are playing so poor this season that it gives the Bears 2 really good draft picks going into next year.
Yeah, potentially number one and two is horrifying.
Absolutely. So with that being said, the Panthers they finally get their win, and Bryce Young did better in that regard, but it's probably too soon to call.
Hmm.
I would say as of right now, yeah, Bears definitely won that trade, but let's see what Bryce Young can continue to do.
Yeah. Now I will say with the Texans, CJ Stroud still looks very good and very capable and looks like the for sure quarterback of the future. But what do you think the Texans can do to support him? Because if you look at the AFC South, you got Trevor Lawrence, who's in his third, fourth year. You got CJ Stroud, who's a rookie. You got Will Levis, the Mayo man, who just had a great game, and he's a rookie as well. And then you go all the
Mhm.
way over to the Colts, who have Anthony Richardson, who's currently hurt for the rest of the season, but when he was playing, he looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So, how can the Texans stay competitive in a surging quarterback AFC South?
I think just continue to do the build. You know what I mean? Like the Texans, there was no indication that they were going to perform well this season. It's still a rebuild. Yeah, they've gotten a few frisky wins and stuff like that, but just continue to ride it out this year. If you want me to be honest, the Colts and the Titans, they're probably going to do the same thing. See what their rookie quarterbacks can do this year and see how many wins they can get. I think more or less the AFC South is a lock for the Jaguars to win the division, and the other three teams are not going to sneak into a wild card spot. So let's just see what they can do and build upon that rebuild for the end of this season and then moving into next season with the draft and free agency and whatnot.
Yeah, I.
CJ Stroud looks good.
Mm,
He has potential just like Bryce Young, but they don't have the team around them. Give them time. Just how it is with a crappy team that basically has to take a rookie quarterback and put him right into the fray.
And I mean, I will say the Texans, they're getting him weapons. Tank Dell looks like a good receiver for C.J. Stroud. They got Damian Pierce, who's kind of fallen, had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but if he resurges, he could be great. Honestly, the AFC South is starting to look like a very dangerous division in the NFL.
Assuming they get the weapons around him and assuming those quarterbacks take that next step. That's the big thing.
But still,
Yeah.
for
All
four
right.
young quarterbacks,
Definitely. Future's bright.
future's bright. All right, next one. I'm going to speed through this one a little bit. I got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the San Francisco 49ers. So the Bengals, we talked all season that they always have a slow start and then they start to ramp it up. It seems like they've hit their rhythm. Seems like they're hitting their stride and they're doing well. Burrow's getting healthy. They're fighting in more games now. So are they turning back into one of the top teams to watch, or is their competition in the AFC North too strong with the Ravens and the Browns having a good defense? I think that they're starting to come back into their top 10 team form, even a top 5 team.
I would definitely agree on the top 10 aspect. I think as of right now, you want my honest opinion, the slow start and the surge that the Ravens look like they're starting to have, I think the division title might not be theirs this season, but they could get a wild card for sure. And let me tell you this, it doesn't matter how good the Ravens look right now. If the Ravens were to meet the Bengals in the playoffs this year,
I think the
doesn't
Bengals
matter if
will
they
win.
won the division. My money would be on the Bengals winning it.
hmm And the second
Yeah.
topic is the 49ers. So the 49ers started this season undefeated, and they've now lost 3 games in a row, and they're going into a bye week, so they'll be able to rest up, get refreshed, and they even acquire Chase Young, as we talked about. So is Young going to be enough to get this team back on track, or is the offense and the secondary of that defense going to struggle and keep holding the team back?
Let me say this. I don't think the defense is the problem for the 49ers. Yeah, they didn't have the best game against the Bengals, but they're still really good. You know what I mean? I
hmm
think the biggest problem for the 49ers right now is I think there's almost a little bit of panic. How do I say this? It's not necessarily anything to brag on or to bag, not brag, excuse me, bag on Brock Purdy because look, the kid didn't even have a full rookie season, and I know he's trying, and he's basically thrown into the spotlight with this one. But I think he was a little bit spoiled going into his situation as a starting quarterback. And what I mean by that is now you have the situation where Trent Williams is hurt, so he doesn't have his tackle protecting his blind side. Um, Christian McCaffrey is still really good, so getting the touchdowns. But you got Debo Samuel out of the game. So essentially, what I mean is as of right now, Brock Purdy doesn't have the spoiled amount of receivers and weapons that he can throw to. So he has to change it up, and it's not exactly going the way they want it to. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, because I mean, even the greatest quarterbacks and even Patrick Mahomes without any real weapons looks really, really bad.
The same thing. I mean, the reason the Giants have, Eli Manning has his first Super Bowl ring is literally because
Luck.
they took down the undefeated. They no, I mean, yeah, the helmet catch, sure, but they took down the undefeated Patriots because they were just able to just feast on Brady because his O-line was beat up.
Yep.
I mean, this is somewhat a similar situation. You would hope that after the bye week, the 49ers kind of get some clarity and figure things out there, but that's the big focus during the bye week. That's all I can say.
And I mean, their first game back is going to be against the Jaguars, who have had one of the better defenses this season. So it could be a pretty gritty game, honestly, when they come back.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's gonna
Honestly,
be
I think
rough.
it's going to be a good game to watch.
Hmm. It definitely could be.
All
Let's
right.
talk about this as well. Moving
Yeah.
on into some of my picks. Okay, so first of all, we've got the one I gotta go with to start here is the Tennessee Titans versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Titans won 28-23. Get it? 28 to
Good
3.
Lord. We will never let Falcons fans live that down, will we?
Tyler, if you're listening, please don't hurt me.
We can just blame it on me.
Right, there you go. Oh, hang on. Yeah, I'm not 100% just yet either. That came out of nowhere. All right, so how about this? The Titans, they unleashed Will Levis, and he totaled 4 touchdowns in his debut. Now, Shane, I was mentioning this to you, and it was funny. You just said, it was all DeAndre Hopkins. It had nothing to do with Will Levis. I don't know, man.
To be fair, I was driving back from Vegas during all of these games, and I saw 4 catches for like 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. I was like, that. I'm guessing that's gonna be more DeAndre Hopkins of doing good routes and dodging receivers rather than a perfect throw in the touchdown for like
I'm
70
but the thing
yards.
is, I was watching it. Those throws
Oh,
were pretty well executed.
okay. Well,
So, I mean, there's a possibility. Do I think that this is going to be some sort of trend that continues? No, I think Will Levis is going to struggle a little bit, to be honest with you. But I also am very curious to see how it does shake out. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, especially because I feel like the Falcons aren't known for a strong, good defense.
That is true. That is very true. So, as far, as of right now, this, it feels like the Titans fire sale is put on hold. They're going to keep Derrick Henry. And for right now, they're just going to see what happens with Will Levis, whether or not, when Ryan Tannehill comes back. I think at this point, especially if Levis continues to play well, he's going to take that job and he might not give it back. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, as for the Falcons, they're going to be shopping for a new quarterback next season. Based on their current position in the draft, which quarterbacks are available, it's going to be those ones who fall later. Maybe like Jaden Daniels from LSU or something like that, or maybe a Bo Nix or a Michael Penix Jr. falls that far. It's hard to say. Um, But at the same time, we talked about quarterback, but do the Falcons take a new head coach next year to unlock the potential of that new quarterback as well as the running game? I know there's been some chatter about that. I don't know. We'll have to see. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I gotta agree, honestly. I think the Falcons are due for some changes, and that could be with head coach, that could be quarterback. Whole lot of changes coming forward for them.
Yeah, I think that's just the solid truth when it comes to that. Really quickly here, just to wrap it up. Then I've also got the Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos game. Broncos won 24-9, and that was the first win for the Broncos over the Chiefs since the Peyton Manning era. It's sad. It's like the Broncos Super Bowl. Do you think this alters the course of their season at all, Shane? Do you think the Broncos can basically use this as a
No.
rebound to get better?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's all. Moving on.
I mean, I will say,
But it
I
looks like,
think it solidified that they should keep some of their star players.
yeah, and maybe not necessarily get rid of them. At the end of next season or at the end of this season, excuse me.
Yeah.
But what about the Chiefs? Did they have a bad game, or were they just not trying? Because to me, it also looks like they weren't trying, and they've reached the point in the season where they're more concerned about making it to the postseason, having at least a decent record. They don't need to win all the regular season games.
I mean,
What do you think?
I'm gonna say it's a little bit of both because division games are the games that you want to win more than just any random regular season game, because a division game is going to count more at the end of the day rather than just, let's say the Chiefs face the Bears. They're not in the same conference, they're not in the same division, not going to matter as much. When it's the Broncos, there's a little bit more pride, I feel like, and a little bit more you should try harder. I feel like they just maybe got a little overconfident and got a little lazy with their play calling, with their execution. It came back to bite them.
And see, I don't know about that situation just yet, Shane, because you talk about the importance of division games, and yeah, they definitely matter. But the thing is the Chiefs have already gotten a win over the Broncos, and the Broncos are not expected to be a team that contends in the playoffs this year. Whereas it's more important, I think, right now for the Chiefs to be getting wins against some teams that they have upcoming in their schedule. They play the Eagles, they play the Bengals, they play the Dolphins this week. Those are teams that we are looking at to make runs in the postseason. I think the Chiefs are more concerned about that.
I mean, I will say those definitely do need to be concerned, but let's just say for whatever reason the Chargers and them are tied with the same record. They want to have more
Doubtful.
division wins in order to break that tiebreaker.
Yeah,
Like I said,
no. Oh, no,
doubtful.
absolutely. I mean, I know it's obvious. That's how football works. I understand that when it comes to the postseason, but it's doubtful.
All I gotta say is math is math.
Yeah.
Good old Incredibles
But
2.
also football teams are football teams, and at this point, the Chiefs are a far superior team to the Chargers, and everyone knows it.
And it's also a division game, which I feel like people are more understanding if you lose one division game against a certain team.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Let's go into our trending up and trending down before we jump into week 9 matchups. So, trending up, who do we got?
Oh man, that's actually a great question.
I think one that does need to be brought up on there is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah,
They're starting to get back into proper form.
yeah, I will agree with that. I think the Bengals are doing good.
Another one that I would say is trending up, but it's all really going to hinge on how they play this week. Dallas Cowboys.
Yep,
I,
Cowboys had
I
a
think,
good big win.
yeah, getting that one on the Rams, getting a huge win, lots of points, really, really good for them. But they have to carry it in now when they face the Eagles.
I need to double check one. I think I got the last one.
Let's hear it.
I got the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. I mean, they are now first place in the NFC West.
And honestly, they beat the Browns, and the Browns have a pretty solid defense.
It wasn't a clean game for the Seahawks, but they got the win, and
Yep.
they're now first place in their division. So that's definitely trending up.
All that matters is that you get the win.
Yep. Trending down, big one we have to say is the Las Vegas Raiders. Yikes.
Oh, yeah. Call me crazy. I got one more for us.
All right.
I got the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that just kind of comes with the territory for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm mainly contributing this to they just lost Kirk Cousins, and I think it hurt the team more so. It's not, oh, our quarterback went down, let's get the next man up. It seems like it broke the morale of the entire team when he went down.
Exactly. Exactly. How about okay, so I've got two teams that I'm mulling over for this third spot, and you tell me what you think. On one hand, I've got the New York Giants because obviously now they've got Tyrod Taylor injured, and they lost to the New York Jets in a pretty embarrassing fashion, might I add.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a viable option, but another one too is the Green Bay Packers. They look
Oh,
awful.
I'm going
They look like a
Packers.
bottom five team. You're going with
I'm
Packers?
going Packers.
All right,
If
cool.
even
That settles
Tom
that.
Grossi, the die-hard Packer fan who is like has a shrine of the Packers, is angry with how bad they are, I think they have to go on our trending down.
Yep,
Because
fair
it
point.
just looks like there's no hope for them right now.
Yep, you're right.
Because, I mean,
It just well, and
go ahead.
to some extent, we say that. To some extent, when we say it feels good, it feels good that way. Because when after that big win that they had over the Bears in Week 1, we're as Bears fans over here kind of like, oh crap, the Packers got it right with a quarterback for the third time in a row. You know what I mean? But Jordan Love does not look good, dude.
No, not
He's
at all.
not good. And Aaron Jones being hurt and not playing well, it all looks like a giant disaster. Somehow, towards the second half, they kind of start to muster a little bit of strength to play well, but it's not enough. When you lose to the Broncos and then you lose no, let me rephrase that. When you lose to the Raiders and then you lose to the Broncos and then you lose to the Vikings who lost their star quarterback like partway through the game, you got to admit you're awful. You know what I mean? And there's a
Yeah.
problem.
And thing is, you as a Bears fan at least have a light to look forward to having 2 early round draft picks right now. The Packers, I feel like, just
Yep.
have zero hope at the moment.
Yeah, they have to really try and figure out, okay, well, what's next?
Yep,
What do we
they
do?
got hit on a quarterback, and that may be having to deal with their personal devil of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, guess we'll see.
And I mean, if I'm the
All
Bears,
right.
I would ask for a king's ransom to trade with the Packers.
Oh, you don't trade in the division, especially a division like the NFC North. They all hate each other. It's not going to happen.
Except for the Lions. Everybody likes the Lions.
Yeah, but at the same time, most like the Vikings, the most Vikings fans, most Bears fans, most Packers fans hate the Lions too. You know what I mean?
True, but I think everyone is in agreement that we're all happy for the Lions right now.
Yeah, for sure. Because the Lions are kind of like the little brother who's finally getting their shot. You know what I mean?
But then once they have their shot, it's time for Big Brother to come back in and beat them down.
Yeah, we'll see. It's definitely not going to be the Packers. At least it doesn't
Mm,
look like that way going into this season or next season.
Vikings might be hitting that reset button. The Bears are trying to figure things out again.
Yeah, we've already hit the reset button. Now we're trying to build upon that, which would be really great. We could probably continue to do that if we had the right coaching staff who didn't just say yes to everything that McCaskey said. Oh, and two, maybe behaved properly and didn't need to get fired by HR. We've now had 2 coaches this season basically be be doing inappropriate stuff, don't know what it is, but they've had to leave the team and be fired essentially because they're being stupid. Just saying, there's a culture problem there.
Man, must be bad to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm like, I say that in the most caring way possible because I'm like, man, my head coach and my owner get along great with each other.
Must be nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, Shad Khan just is like, what do you need? Here's my checkbook. Go have fun.
Big applause to that. I still think the Bears should sell the team. But anyway, I digress from the main point. Let's jump into Week 9 matchups. Our first big one, we've got Thursday Night Football tomorrow night between the Titans and the Steelers. Shane, we're in agreement that the Steelers will win. We don't really think that the Titans are going to be able to maintain that momentum. After what happened, it might be a little bit of a rocky second outing for Will Levis. Steelers get the win. Matchup monster in this game. I'm going to go with Minka Fitzpatrick.
Ooh, haven't heard that name in forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go defense as well, but I'm gonna go for the obvious one and say T.J. Watt.
Good call. Yep,
It's
good
gonna be the
call.
defense just hurting Levis all day.
Yeah,
No
I can
mayo
see
for
it.
Mayo Man.
Big one, big game. I feel like will be really good. Dolphins and Chiefs. Now we believe though that the Dolphins can get this win. Look, the Chiefs defense is actually doing pretty well for how young they are, but I don't feel like they can stop the Dolphins offense with how explosive it can be. And the defense might be really good for the Dolphins too. Jalen Ramsey came back from injury and kind of
Hmm.
just improved it. You know what I mean?
And he went on and said that even though he got that interception this past week, that he could have gone to pit sits and he was mad about it, and he said, next week I'm getting a pit sits.
So there you go. There you have it. Well, and Patrick Mahomes is one of several quarterbacks who leads the league in thrown interceptions right now, so it's
Which is
certainly possible.
shocking.
Hey, that's football. You know what I mean? But of course, it's not talked about enough because Patrick Mahomes is the golden boy of the NFL.
And also because Taylor Swift is now showing up to every Chiefs game.
Ugh, okay. Anyway, if she shows up to this one, she's going to be disappointed because the Dolphins are going to get the win. Matchup monster in this game. Go ahead and give me Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with Mostert.
Yeah. Okay. Vikings and Falcons. Sunday morning football. We both got the Falcons winning, and I think that just mostly comes from the situation that the Vikings are having right now, figuring out the quarterback situation. Matchup monster in this game, I'll say that Bijan Robinson has a good rebound game and starts to produce at a higher level again.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I'm gonna be bold, and I'm gonna say Kyle Pitts.
Okay, give me one more. Let's say AJ Terrell has a really, really good game as far as making it tough for the offense
I
of the
like it.
Vikings. Okay, Bears and Saints. We say the Saints win it, of course. Tyson Bagent starting again. Saints have a pretty decent defense. Their offense has been scoring high lately. Matchup monster in this game. The Saints will win it if Derek Carr is playing at a high level. So go ahead and give me Derek Carr.
I'm gonna say Alvin Kamara because I've been seeing a lot of dump passes to Alvin Kamara.
Yep, that's a good point. Rams and Packers. Look, it's going to be the Rams. They need a bit rebound win after the Cowboys, and the Packers are hot garbage right now. Rams matchup monster. Who you got?
I'm gonna say Cooper Kupp needs his bounce back game 2 weeks in a row, just bad performances.
I will agree with that because I also don't want to have Puka Nakua's name called for the third time in a row.
Puka Nokua. Which I found out
Commanders
Puka
and
isn't even his real name.
no, it's totally a nickname.
Do you know what Puka means for his nickname?
I don't.
It means like fat/chubby.
Hey, there you go.
That is what it actually means. I'm just like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, he's like, that was my nickname as a kid, and it just stuck. I'm just like, well, okay.
He was just a little chunky.
Yeah.
All right. How
Ugh.
about the Commanders and the Patriots? We both say the Patriots are going to get their third win of the season because the Commanders, they're lacking in the defensive game, it seems, right now. I don't know. It's hard to say with this one because the Commanders, they put up a really good game against the Eagles, and the offense was flying high. It's just too many mistakes were made.
I was going to pick the Commanders until they traded away both Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
So with that switch up there that's happening, we've got the Patriots winning this game. Matchup monster in this game. God,
I
do
don't
I
like
just do it
any
for
of
the
the
Patriots?
Patriots.
Well, because here's the thing, you got Kendrick Bourne's out now for the season. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is still on IR. Um, Jeez, I don't know, and I'm definitely not giving it to Mac Jones. I'll tell you that.
I might be
Maybe just give
picking.
it.
Go ahead.
I'll go with Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson. I almost put the name of somebody that I know, but I don't think he's playing much right now, so I'm just gonna pass.
All right.
All right,
Oh,
Seattle Seahawks versus the Baltimore Ravens. This one we do disagree on.
yeah. So with this one, look, I've got the Ravens winning because I feel like they're playing at a high level and they're really able to score big. Lamar's doing well. They're able to show that they did that again. Yes, granted, I recognize it was against the Cardinals, but I think it needs to be said that the Seahawks, they're still trying to figure out things exactly. And it was a close win against the Browns. And the Ravens, they're different. And I feel like that's going to be the thing that changes it
They're
for
built
them. And I
different.
think the Ravens will get this win.
Honestly, I think we can both agree though, it's going to be a close game, and I think it's going to be the Ravens offense versus the Seahawks defense.
I can get down with that.
So, for matchup monster, who do you have?
Go ahead and give me. I have to go with Lamar Jackson. I really do.
Oh, Lamar. Shoot. I think I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker.
Good pick.
I feel like we haven't said his name recently, but I honestly don't remember.
I think he'll be good too. I think he could do very well. All right. Let's see. Now we've got Buccaneers and Texans. Now we disagree on this one too. You've got the Texans winning. I've got the Buccaneers. Look, the Buccaneers almost gave the Bills an upset there, and I feel like they can play at a decent enough level. Whereas the Texans, they're just trying to figure stuff out. Give me the Buccaneers in this matchup. I'm going to say someone like, go ahead and go with Rashad White.
Okay. I'm picking the Texans honestly because I feel like they won a bounce back game after the Panthers lost, and I feel like they got nothing to lose, so they're gonna play a little bit more risky, which could be good or bad. So I'm gonna say it's CJ Stroud.
Okay. It's a good pick.
We got Arizona Cardinals and the Cleveland Browns. My gosh, the Cardinals.
The best there. And they got a rookie QB starting too.
Yeah, because they traded away Josh Dobbs.
Dobbs. Yep. So with that, we've got the Browns winning with that big old defense. Matchup monster. Go ahead and give me Miles Garrett again. I mean, the
Yeah,
defense will be carrying this here.
Miles Garrett against a rookie quarterback on a bad
Yeah.
Cardinals team.
Yeah. Do the math. This one's going to be an interesting game. This next one here, Shane. It's the Colts versus the Panthers. Now, keep in mind, the Panthers' current head coach is Frank Reich, who was fired as the head coach for the Colts last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, could be a little bit of a revenge game for him. But with that, we've got the Colts getting the win, though, so he won't get his revenge. Matchup monster in this game. Go ahead and give me Zach Moss.
Oh, Zach Moss. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think I go with Zach Moss. I don't see many Colts players doing much else.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Michael Pittman. He's been getting better recently.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still just like,
Yeah. Okay, now we've got the Giants and the Raiders. Now, granted, you'd think we'd be taking the Giants with how bad the Raiders have been lately, but I think with this new direction, this new interim head coach, there's going to be a rebound where they're going to be good enough to beat the Giants. Raiders, you know what? I'm going to say it, matchup monster. Give me Aiden O'Connell. Let's see him ball out.
I was gonna say, I'm like, it's going to hinge on him, and honestly, he's going to just feed Devontae Adams. I think that's going to be the game plan: is get Adams and Jacobs the ball, and that is the whole plan.
Yeah, I agree. How about the Cowboys and the Eagles? Now that is going to be a good game. And we disagree. You say the Cowboys win. I say the Eagles win. I feel like the Eagles offense, especially when you're feeding the ball to A.J. Brown, good heck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is something the Cowboys defense is not going to be prepared for. The Cowboys defense forces huge takeaways when they are playing mediocre offenses. The Eagles are not a mediocre offense.
They gotta watch out for the fake tush push.
Right? Speaking of which, matchup monster, give me DeAndre Swift.
Oh boy. Honestly, I'm very excited for this game. I don't want the
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys to win, but I think they might win in this matchup. I'm gonna say CeeDee Lamb.
He's on my fantasy team. I'll take it.
Give him the lamb sauce.
I think I'm playing someone in another league who also has him. Yep.
I'm
Great.
like, I also have CeeDee Lamb on a couple of my teams, so
Yeah. All right. Bills and Bengals.
man, I'm so
We
excited
agree.
for this one.
This will be good too. Good Sunday night football matchup. Bills and Bengals. We have the Bengals winning, continuing their streak. They're doing well. Matchup monster in this game. Gotta give me Jamar Chase again. I feel like this is going to be a really, really good game for him.
I'm gonna say T. Higgins.
You said that last time, and he hasn't been that great. He's been getting calls lately to be traded.
You know,
Just
honestly,
saying. Just saying.
honestly, if they want to get more offers for him in the off season, they gotta give him the ball more and make him shine.
Yes, that's true. That's a good
I mean,
point.
I also just don't want to say Joe Mixon because I feel like I say Joe Mixon all the time.
I feel like you haven't said him yet this season, but maybe I'm tripping.
I'm like, I can always change it to Tyler Boyd, but that's not exciting at all.
Right. All right. And then we got, last but not least, Monday Night Football, Chargers and Jets. Now, look, we agree. The Chargers, the offense is going to be, good enough to get a win even against the Jets defense. And there's no way that Zach Wilson is going to be able to play well against the Chargers defense.
No.
Chargers win the game. Matchup monster in this game. Go ahead and give me Joey Bosa.
Oh. Um. No, that's too risky. I was gonna say Quentin Johnston. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go Keenan Allen, be safe.
Maybe. Maybe.
I will say, I was on Twitter and I found a Talk Show podcast saying, which is a very bad one, like very bad.
Yeah, okay.
They had the New York Jets as the fifth best AFC team above the Chiefs, above the Chargers, above the Jaguars.
Jeez.
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can find that entire list real quick, cause it was bad. Here.
No kidding. That's off.
I mean
All right.
the host. Oh, sorry, he had them at number 4. The host is a
What?
diehard Jets fan, and a lot of the other
Oh,
people on
that's
it were like diehard Steelers fans and were pissed that the Jaguars beat the Steelers. It was a whole thing. So
so it's all
AFC,
biased. Great.
let's look at this. So AFC, number 1, Ravens. Number 2, Dolphins. Number 3, Bengals. Which all three I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see that. Number 4, they had Jets for the AFC.
Oh my gosh.
NFC, and this was literally like before week 8 occurred, so I'll give them some slack with some things, but number 1 in the NFC, the 49ers. Number
Great.
2, the Cowboys. Number 3, the Lions, and number 4, the Eagles.
Okay.
It was oh no, that was heading into week 9. That was after week 8. Ha! That's even worse.
I'll say. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, and they had like this whole like production crew and everything. I'm like, wow, this is very bad. I'm not gonna say the name because
Yeah.
I don't want to
No.
put anybody on blast or anything, but I saw that and I was like, oof,
It was bad.
it was bad. Then I'm like, there were some real
Okay.
hot takes going on.
Yeah. No kidding. Ugh.
Let's move on to our fun
All right.
stuff.
Yep. With the time that we have left, let's go for the fun, which is a new one. It's different. We'll see how it goes. We don't even necessarily have the best criteria to break it down, but our for the fun this week is we will be ranking the best mascots in the NFL. So we'll basically be
Ooh.
taking a look at the mascots in each division and then kind of pairing them up against each other going into, the end of it. So without further ado, let's jump into it. We've got our candidates for the AFC East. Now, keep in mind, the New York Jets do not have a mascot,
Which is kind of
but
sad.
the other three do. What do you say?
It's kind of sad.
A little bit. There's
They,
a
they
couple of
could
teams here
they
that
could
don't
make
have
an
one.
awesome mascot if they wanted to.
They could if they wanted to. All right, we've got Billy Buffalo for the Bills. We've got TD, the Dolphin, or touchdown, depending on how you look at it, for the Dolphins. And you've got Pat Patriot for the New England Patriots. Now, Shane, I was doing a little bit of I was trying to find some research about these mascots, and I'll be honest, I didn't find very much. I feel like the one that kind of sticks out the most as far as being a well-known up-in-front mascot is Pat Patriot.
Oh, see, I was gonna say Billy Buffalo.
He's 8 feet tall. I could get down with that.
I mean, every like place that I was going to was like Billy Buffalo is just the greatest mascot that we love to just watch.
Okay,
I
say no
mean,
more.
I think here's my thing. I think Pat Patriot is only well known because of how many times the Patriots won the Super Bowl. But if you were to say
Sure.
like, oh, what cool or fun stuff does Pat Patriot do? Does anything come to mind at all?
No, it's true. Well, and I feel like too, yeah, that's the first thing that definitely comes to mind is the fact that hey, there's not really much there to be said about Pat Patriot as far as, you know, is he good, is he not, does he do anything cool, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I think the AFC East is just kind of weak for mascots in general. It seems like they all just do the generic mascot stuff, just dancing
Mm-hmm.
around, firing a t-shirt cannon. That's kind of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. So with that being said, maybe we'll just, for this one, we'll definitely go with Billy Buffalo.
I just think he looks the coolest.
Yeah, no, that I can agree with. So we got Billy Buffalo as the winner of the AFC East. How about the AFC North? We got Houday, which is like a tiger for the Bengals. We got Brownie the Elf for the Browns, who, may I add, has 28,000 Instagram followers, which, yeah, that's going to count as a little bit of criteria for us
Oh,
here.
is
And
he
then
back to being the elf or is it the dog?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think for this one, we're going to talk about the elf because I
Okay,
think they're putting the elf more in front than the dog.
sounds good to me.
Um, And you got Poe, which is a Raven for the Ravens. And obviously, the only thing I've heard about him is a couple years ago, I guess, the mascot actually tore his ACL trying
Yep.
to do something in the
Yep.
preseason.
I remember that.
Yep. And then the other one, Steely McBeam for the Pittsburgh Steelers, just a big old steel worker. And I'm going to be honest with you, if I had to pick from these, and obviously I'm not biased because I don't really care about any of these teams, but definitely the one who sticks out the most is Steely McBeam, and that could partly be because of the Steelers' history. I just think that one is kind of interesting when it comes to how they're able to make him big and well known and out there
And I mean, I will say,
as just a regular steel worker.
I was looking at like all the pictures and like trying to see who I like vibed with, and I ran across Steely McBeam, and I was like, okay, Steely McBeam, and I just saw him like, okay, so he's just a person that just walks around with a giant steel beam everywhere, which one I thought was funny, but also I was like, that's kind of cool. And then his name is Steely McBeam, and I'm like, I just appreciate the stupidity that went into this, and I applaud it.
So, with that being said, I think we have a winner here.
Steely
McBeam. All right. AFC West candidates. Now, the Chargers do not have a mascot.
They used to, I think,
but
but
we
I think
have.
he disappeared.
They used to. Yep. We got Miles Thunder, big old horse for the Broncos. You got Casey Wolf for the Chiefs, little wolf mascot who's got 13,000 Instagram followers, and then you have Raider Rusher for the Raiders, which is basically a dude with a head and legs. Looks like a freaking emoji.
Yeah, I was like, he doesn't even have a torso. It's literally just a giant person head with a football helmet on, and then legs. I hate Raider Rusher. I hate him.
Yep, so definitely not a winner there. But so who do we got between Miles and Casey Wolf? My vote, I like Miles. I like the fact that he gets on top of the giant Jumbotron. Mile High Stadium waves a flag during each quarter. Kind of seems to have a bigger presence. And honestly, seems more likable to me than Casey Wolf.
I will say, Casey Wolf looks the goofiest out of all the mascots.
Yep, I agree with that.
I would say this is our toughest one yet, but I think I'll give it to Miles Thunder.
Cool.
Or
Let's
Miles
go with
Thunder
that,
the
then.
second.
Miles Thunder the second, yes. Let's be specific here. Okay. That was pretty easy, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the one that I think is going to be a bloodbath. Is the AFC South. Now.
I only have two acceptable answers here.
Okay, let's see. So first off, we've got T-Rack, the Tennessee Titans raccoon mascot that has 15,000 Instagram followers.
Horrible.
And you got Toro, the Houston Texans bull mascot who has 119,000 Instagram followers. Granted, I did see him do something funny on social media the other day. You got Jackson DeVille, the Jaguar.
Heck yeah.
24,000 Instagram followers. And then you have Blue, the horse from the Indianapolis Colts, 250,000 Instagram followers. Kind of at least when it comes to mascots here, he's definitely the one who has the most of a following on social media.
For Instagram.
Let's break this one down.
We'll say for Instagram.
On Instagram, at least. Yeah.
Honestly, T-Rack, I hate him. I think he's the dumbest looking one. And honestly, you're the Titans and you have a raccoon.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I've never even seen or heard of him, and he's a division rival.
I think I've seen him on Gridiron Heights once, but that's it.
Oh yeah, but it's more just like he's a creepy mascot that's like lurking in the background, looking like he's about to kill you.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have nothing against Toro, but I feel like Toro isn't very flashy.
Yeah.
I will say, I think he looks great. I don't have any issues with him. I just don't think he's as flashy as the other two.
I can agree with that.
Now,
I will say this though, we were talking about followers, we did the Instagram followers. The two that I'm looking at right now that you haven't mentioned yet when it comes to Twitter followers or X followers, Jax DeVille has 57
or something.
Oh, okay. According to this one, it says 57,000 followers.
57.
And Blue has 54. 54,000.
Honestly, I like both of them. I don't have issues with either of them. Jackson DeVille zip lines into the field at the start of every single game. He's always been a goofball. He's thrown cake in Colts fans' faces. And here's where I like these two is that every time the Jaguars and the Colts face off, these two mascots make bets against each other.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think you know that personally.
No. I
So
think another reason though sorry, go ahead and finish what you're
Oh,
saying.
I was like, go ahead, because this is gonna be a little bit of a tangent.
We can't necessarily use the pies as a reason for why one is better than the other because honestly, Blue and Jacksonville both throw pies in opposing teams' faces. I think maybe more, which I will say, at least if you want to call it as a validation for is Blue is usually the front runner for the Pee Wee League where the mascots play against Pee Wee kids,
Hmm.
and Blue is just out there literally juking and stiff arming every Pee Wee kid, and
And
it's
then
actually
taunting
super
them.
entertaining. Exactly. And he definitely does that because Blue's got those weird, like, little, uh, party streamers that shoot out of his nose. You
Oh
know, the
yeah,
ones that you blow with. Yeah.
like I said,
So
I
I will
like
say,
Blue. But I was saying,
I feel like, I feel like, I feel like for the sake of avoiding bias, we have to go with Blue.
yeah, and I'll say this to going back to the betting thing. So a couple years back, they made a bet on whichever team won, and it's like a friendly, fun bet, and the Jaguars lost, so Jackson DeVille had to strip down to his underwear, so he was wearing like a yellow bodysuit with like blue spots on it, and Blue got to sit there and shoot him with a paintball gun.
Yeah, that's right. I
Which I'm like,
remember.
that's funny. Recently, because the Jaguars won, Blue had to go into the middle of town and say, wearing a sign that says "Jaguars are the best," and it was funny. And I think he ended up flipping off Jackson DeVille, which was very funny and just very fun. I like both of these guys, honestly. They are
Yeah, I
great
think that
mascots.
they're at the top, I would say, when it comes to mascot.
Yeah. I like you saying, "Oh, we're gonna go with Blue." I'm fine with that.
Yeah, cool. Moving on to the NFC East, the Giants do not have a mascot, but the Commanders have Major Tuddy. He's a pig. Honestly, never even heard of him until I did the research for this.
Heard of him,
Um,
forgot he existed because he's like 5 years old.
yeah, Rowdy, big old cowboy with cowboy hat, and then you got Swoop, the eagle for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm gonna be honest with you, the one that I feel like has the most presence is Swoop. Honestly, I feel like
Oh
he's the
yeah.
one I see the most of, and that's not because the Eagles are doing well. And honestly, he's the one I would take.
Oh yeah, Swoop is fun to watch.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. NFC North. The Packers do not have a mascot, but the Vikings have Victor the Viking, the Bears have Staley the Bear, and the Lions have Rory the Lion. And I'm going to be honest with you, and this will be saying something because obviously I'm not going with the bias here, but the one that I like the most is Victor the Viking. His mustache is like
Oh,
super long and it's kind of fun to
I
watch.
love Victor. No offense to Staley. I feel like Staley is just going off of history with the Bears and having Brandon Staley and everything. And I honestly,
Ed Staley, or it's not Brandon Staley, that's the Chargers QB, but I know where you're going with
yeah,
this.
I think I'm more
And,
shocked by anything that the Packers don't have a mascot.
right?
I thought it would be like just walking cheese or something.
Right. There's one way to think about it. But yeah, no, nothing there. It's Victor the Viking who gets the win for this one.
Victor.
Hey, we are running out of time here, but we got two more divisions to go over. NFC West, we've got Big Red, big old Cardinal for the Cardinals. Rampage, big old Ram. Sourdough Sam, which is, basically a gold digger for the 49ers.
Oh man.
And then the one that I think is the winner, Blitz the Seahawk.
I mean, mm, I'm torn because Sourdough Sam is like the perfect definition of a mascot for the 49ers because 49ers are all about the gold rush and he is a gold miner from the gold rush, but we'll give it to Blitz.
Yeah, I think for this one we'll just go with it. I get it. Sourdough Sam would be my second pick.
Big Red I can't go
Now,
to because he looks too much like the college or Is it college or he looks too close to another mascot.
It's true. He looks like now. Granted, look, I know they're both named the Cardinals, but he definitely looks a lot like something that the St. Louis Cardinals would have. And another thing too, he also looks like the Ball State um, mascot as well, or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly that. So
Last
yeah,
one,
no, I'll give it.
NFC South.
We got Sir Purr for the Panthers. That's actually a pretty good one.
I like Sir
Captain
Purr.
Fear for the Buccaneers. Captain Fear for the Buccaneers. He's kind of cool. Gumbo, I don't even know if he's really the actual mascot for the Saints anymore. He's a dog that's named Gumbo.
Oh, it's
And
not
then
a
my
dog.
personal...
Dude.
Oh, it's not a dog? What is it?
It is a person.
Oh, great.
Let me see if I can send you this picture of Gumbo. Oh, it's
Oh,
Gumbo
Lord.
/ Sir Saint.
Oh, yeah, Sir Saint. Okay, great. I'm looking forward to that. And then anyway, the last one we got Freddie Falcon for the Atlanta Falcons, who actually kind of does the same thing with it's not a zip line, but it's kind of like he almost I don't know. I feel like I saw something where he from the top of Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it's almost like he did like a slack not a slack line. It's almost like he did a rope swim.
Oh. All I gotta say is screw
Yeah.
Freddie Falcon because he looks so weird. Oh, did you finally see Gumbo
No, where did
or
you
Sir
put it?
Saint? I sent it to you in Discord.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, okay.
Now you see it.
Uh-huh.
Boy, you made this difficult here. I'll send it to you in Facebook as well.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. He's just got a big old chin.
I was like, for everybody, it's literally just a person with a giant chin.
Yeah, he looks like Thanos. Looks like a
Thanos with
a
no
New Orleans
eyes.
Thanos. Yep.
Oh man,
Oh,
it's
man.
bad. It's real bad.
Hey, so it almost sounds like we are probably torn between Sir Purr and Captain Fear.
My vote goes to Sir Purr for one reason, and I feel like you will not know this because I didn't know this until I took a tour of the Panther Stadium one year.
Okay,
Sir Purr has squeakers in his paws, and he will walk around the stadium squeaking his paws.
Huh.
Like, he will do that before the game. Like, you'll just see him walking by, and he'll just creep up behind someone, hold his paw next to their ear, and just squeak it like 3 times and then run away.
Oh, geez.
Which is why I'm like, I think that's funny because of how stupid that is, but it's also very entertaining to watch him try to squeak in somebody's ear and then hide.
That's true. That's pretty funny.
Captain Fear does look awesome, though.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take it, honestly. I like the idea of Sir Purr. So with that being said, AFC East, these 4 options, Billy Buffalo, Steely McBeam, Miles Thunder, and Blue. Who do you got potentially moving on to the mascot Super Bowl?
I'm saying Blue.
I'm saying Blue as well. That one was easy.
Blue
How about
is
the NFC?
great.
Yeah, how about the NFC? Kind of torn between Victor the Viking and Sir Purr.
Yeah, I think. Oh man, it's so hard because even I'm like, man, Swoop is kind of fun though, but ugh. I I think I'm gonna go with Victor the Viking because of that mustache.
I'll take it. I'll agree with that. So our mascot Super Bowl matchup would be between Blue and Victor the Viking. And I'll be honest, even it probably should seem obvious with already our discussion. I think we would have Blue winning it.
Oh yeah, I think even if we put like the entire NFC competitors or our winners from the mascot competition, I think Blue beats all of them by himself.
Yep, I think you're right. Got a big enough presence, pretty entertaining, does some good stuff.
Stiff arms little
Yeah,
kids
I'll go
for
with
no
that.
reason.
Yeah.
Never change, Blue. Never change.
Yeah, right. And with that, that is the end of our For the Fun. Blue is our winner, and that is the end of our episode. We've got some good stuff coming up here. As far as the matchups coming up, big ones we talked about are the Dolphins and the Chiefs for one. Another one that could be potentially interesting, you got the Colts and the Panthers for the Frank Reich revenge game. And then Cowboys and Eagles and Bills and Bengals.
A lot of good matchups this week.
Definitely. Good week for it, and we'll have to see what happens.
Until then, we will see you guys next time.
And also keep in mind, for anyone who's consistently listening, we will actually not be having an episode next week, but we will return the following week.
Correct.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Nice night.